Naija Senate don pass the Electricity Act Amendment Bill 2025 for second reading as part of efforts to rescue Naija power sector wey don almost collapse. Dis bill dey try solve the plenty wahala wey dey disturb the power sector and na the important steps towards serious reform for the electricity industry. Na Senator Naija Abaribe sponsor dis bill. As e dey present the bill, Senator Abaribe tok say the amendment go help reduce all the court cases and confusion wey dey follow since the 2023 Act begin give states control over how dem dey generate, transmit and distribute electricity.
The bill seeks to include provisions that will, one, enhance policy and regulatory coordination between national and subnational governments to avoid legal disputes and inconsistencies. You will recall, Mr. President, that the Electricity Act 2023 now gives states, which are subnationals, the right to set up, distribute, transmit, and generate electricity. And we are already seeing within the Act several areas of disputes between states and the federal government. And these are what we want to cure. For example, in the Electricity Act, we have a provision, actually, which was unfortunately passed by us, that says that laws that are made by states actually supersede the Constitution. Because it says there that any law passed by a state with regard to electricity cannot be overruled or whatever, which, of course, the Constitution is very clear. Any federal legislation that conflicts with a state legislation, the federal legislature must take precedence. So we want to cure such anomalies and disputes within the Electricity Act.
Other senators support the bill well. Dem talk say the bill urgent and dey very necessary, and some lawmakers even suggest say anybody wey dey vandalize power infrastructure suppose face capital punishment. Dem still agree say this bill go help fix major problems for how light dey generated and shared for the country.
Looking at his submission, the first objective of this bill, enhance policy and regulatory coordination between the national and the subnational government to avoid legal disputes and inconsistency. Mr. President, I quite agree with him, because now that we now have in place that bill, that act empowering the states to generate their own electricity, definitely there can be some issues which we believe maybe as a result of this amendment that can be corrected. But Mr. President, looking at what we currently have as structure in the electricity sector, you will quite agree with me that over the years, so many people have taken advantage of this particular sector and the federal government being the sole generation and distribution of power in Nigeria. As we speak, Mr. President, the indebtedness of the federal government to these contractors, so-called the GENCOs and the DISCOs, is running into billions and millions of dollars.
Let me start by saying that the Committee on Power has done a very good job and detailed and comprehensive work on this bill. It addresses all the issues involved in the distribution generation and even transmission of power in Nigeria. In particular, Mr. President, I take special note on the issue of debt which the federal government is shouldering on behalf of DISCOs and GENCOs. Mr. President, we have privatized power, and yet trillions and trillions of naira are being spent, and it is done on behalf of Junkos. And this, sorry, Junkos and Discos. And this Junkos and Discos, they were given these assets, believing that they have all it takes to ensure that they generate and distribute power. But federal government is bearing the cost. So the bill has really addressed this issue. And of particular importance is the issue of vandalization.
I will term it is revolutionary in nature, akin to the Petroleum Industry Act that this parliament amended with a view to revolutionizing the industry. And this bill equally, this amendment equally seeks to do that. One, against the backdrop of the fact that as a result of the amendment of the Constitution bringing power from exclusive legislative list to the concurrent legislative list, states can now also legislate on matters concerning electricity. And this has brought conflict between laws that were enacted at the state level and laws that are existing at the national level. So essentially what this bill seeks to do is to also smoothen or bring it in conformity with the Constitution, the fact that laws made by the National Assembly are superior to laws that are made by the State Houses of Assembly.
For him final talk, Senate President Godswill Akpabio held the Power Committee for the hard work. He talk say the bill na correct response to wetin Naija people dey complain about and say it go help Naija develop industrially.
And members of the Committee on Power for this bill, and hope that by the time it goes through second reading, the issue or the issues that bother the Nigerian public will be addressed. Without electricity, there's no way we can have industrial growth in the country. And so everybody is looking forward to the transformation of this sector. So it's on that note that I commend the Distinguished Senator Baribe.
The amendments don't pass the second reading and them don't send them go back to the Committee on Power, make them check and well and bring reports within 6 weeks. Make una no forget, say, as we see them, na so we dey talk am. We know they take blame. Ohifemi Onosimo, TMC News.